Welcome to MSTalks. I'm joined today by Lawrence and by Ella, and this is our views on the news. So what we got today, Ella?
Okay, so we all know that Meghan and Harry released their interview discussing about their issues within the royal family. But do the black community pick and choose when mixed race people are black?
What?
Who's going first?
I don't know.
How do you feel? Would you say you're
I
mixed
feel they
race?
do. I am mixed race. I don't say I'm black. I don't say I'm white. But I definitely have a black mother and I have a white father, and I identify as being mixed race. What pisses me off is when I see the comments and they say mixed race people aren't black. But when Meghan joined the royal family, it was fantastic. This is one step closer to change. Now she's released an interview. But you're mixed race, babe, what did you expect? And etc, and oh, but she's not even black though. But she is, she's half black. I'm confused.
It blew, listen, people have probably seen my comments all over the place because it blew my mind, literally. And I echo what you say. I do consider myself a part of the black community. Yeah. So sometimes I will refer to us. As the people.
I do the same.
This is damaging for us. But I consider myself to be a mixed race woman.
Yeah.
So with your initial question and to do with Meghan and Harry, it was, all of a sudden, again, we've spoken about it on a previous show, they refer to her now as black because of the struggle. So that means the struggle and being black
are synonymous with each other.
Because when I posed a question online, it was like, well, they're treating her as a black woman, so she is black in this instance. It's like, what? How does that determine her to be black? When I actually approach certain topics, I am shut down so many times. And this is not like a violent moment. It's just a fact that you're not black. Why are you speaking on black things? You wouldn't know what it's like to be a black woman. You're nothing to do with the... And it goes on and on. Okay, fine. I'm not black. But neither is Meghan.
Yeah.
She's not black either. And to be honest, I wouldn't even... If we're going to tie in culture with being black, I don't even see her culturally as black. But see, I don't agree with your culture determines your identity in terms of race. Yeah. But usually speaking, it is. And I don't...
By the black people. By the black community.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're... Yeah.
And she made a point specifically within the interview of saying woman of colour. She didn't say I'm a black woman. So I just think...
But then it's like, okay, so what determines colour then? Then it kind of boils down to the whole one drop rule, isn't it?
That's not here though. That's in America. And I think that... You see when people say... This frustrates me all the time, and I've said it so many times. Oh, you're black because the white man will see you as black. How did we give the white man again so much power?
Yeah, on how they view us.
I am who I am. If the white man now says...
But then it's picking and choosing though, isn't it?
I'm not intelligent because I've got black in me. Are we going to run with what the white man says? That is not a determining factor because the white man says you're black, you're now black. That doesn't make any sense.
It's not even true anyway, but, you know.
What?
I think people have said because the white man puts mixed race people and black people in the same category, I think Akala would say racialized as black. He calls himself black, he's got a white mum. It's not necessarily true anyway. So I was looking at statistics on Stop and Search. Mixed race people are 3 times as likely as white people to get stopped and searched, but black people are 4 times as likely as mixed race people to get stopped and searched. So I think the idea that colorism is only something that exists within the black community or within the Asian community or whatever, and white people just see us as one, isn't necessarily true. So I really struggle with people that want to pick and choose. Now, because you're in a situation where anti-blackness is a part of your experience, you're black. But if you weren't experiencing that, you're not black at all.
Would Meghan have been
welcomed into the royal family?
If she, to me, when I saw her in Suits, I really had to double take to see if she had black in her. Just like the way she looked, her hair, her demeanour,
100%.
the way she carries herself. I didn't clock straight away that she was a mixed race woman.
Same. And I even get that. Not a lot of people might clock that I'm immediately mixed race with black and white heritage. So I get it, but it's like going back to like what we were saying in terms of like, do they pick and choose? So it's not great that, for example, if we're saying that Barack only got in because he had a white mother, or Meghan, it's not great.
It's not.
But what are we doing? Are we claiming the success, or are we not? Are we saying it's not good enough, but we've made some progress? Or are we saying no?
And
no.
I'm glad you said that, because that goes back to the conversation about how ecstatic we were that Meghan, like you said earlier, married into the royal family. Like,
Yeah, it was like fantastic.
This is progress.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But then hang on a minute. This is progress that she's married into the royal family. So was colonialism and racism and institutional racism like put on pause? And then now she's had the backlash. Oh, we remember now. Oh, colonialism, racism.
And now we're pissed at her. And now we're a bit like, oh, but did she forget? Oh, she brought this on herself. And it's so, yeah. It's...
And I think we have this weird like confusion of inconsistency. If we know that those systems are racist, then why are we shocked, or why would we even celebrate Meghan marrying into that?
That's a great question. And I mean, the royal family, like, to me, it's always been inconsistent for people to celebrate Meghan, a part black person, marrying into the royal family of all things, and then also saying George the Poet had hats off to you for turning down an OBE. Skepta, George the Poet turned down their OBEs, and everyone was like, go on. So like, why are we happy about a black person marrying
because
into the
this is what I'm saying, we're not strong and steadfast in our views. We sway like the wind. We're confused. And the problem is, when a lot of us are confused, or we're not steadfast in our views, or we're not consistent, anyone can manipulate us very easily and make us feel gassed about like Harry's got gun fingers picture. Oh, Harry's Jamaican, he's one of us. Oh, that's my boy. That's
to the
man
cookout.
them. Oh, what? Because he's got gun fingers. Is the bar so low that Harry's gun fingers makes him black? Like, come on.
Kamala Harris wore Tim's one time, and everyone got excited.
All the black community Tims. Or when Hillary Clinton had hot sauce, took the hot sauce. Hey. It's embarrassing. Like, it literally is embarrassing that this is what we're celebrating. Or on the flip side, for someone who doesn't mind those things, at least be consistent. No, this is a win for us, but make everything about the system a win. Don't sometimes stand in front of number 10 proud in your Sunday best, like I got invited to number 10, and then you're like, the system, anti-corruption, anti-this, anti-that.
Yeah.
Which one is it? So going back to the whole like picking and choosing, I think the community pick and choose on loads of different things. And I think it does make us look confused or unsure of what we actually want, or what makes us happy or not happy.
To me, it seems like the short-term like enjoyment of acceptance, of progress, of hope or whatever, puts aside like the long-term rejection of a system that doesn't really work for us. We go, oh, hang on, let's stop being negative. Let's enjoy the sunshine for 5 minutes.
I suppose it's hard. You don't want to be
hard.
negative at something. We're in the UK and we're stuck with the monarchy. I mean, I don't mind monarchy, but sometimes, I'm not saying that they're not steeped in issues of racism and colonialism, but then so is a lot of other things.
Right.
Like, it's not natural really for you to wear a shirt that's, you know, a white man's dress.
I mean,
we could what I'm saying is, we can pick at everything and say we could say historically everything is connected to some level of colonialism.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But let's move on.
What's
so
next?
That was our view on Meghan and Harry's interview and the whole mixed race discussion to come from that. The next one is it's really sad actually. This actually, not a lot of things bother or affect me, but the disappearance and then the police officer being arrested for the death of Sarah Everard, it was just horrific. But within 2 days, I think even 24 hours, it has created this massive conversation around are women safe on London streets? And, you know, domestic violence and men being perpetrators. Even a peer for the Green Party in the House of Lords suggested men should be on curfew from 6 p.m.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's getting out of hand. I feel that her death, RIP, is being used as a political vehicle now. And I feel that that is so worrying. It's so concerning, because I understand that positive can come from it. You know, be more vigilant, be more aware. This can happen to us as women, or like you men, watch out for women, or whatever the case may be, or change your behaviour in some way. But we haven't even got to grips with what the story is yet. Do you see what I mean? So this death by social media, or judgment rather by social media, is so dangerous, because we're yet to know. That's one. But then the second point is, and I'm not saying he looks innocent to me, he doesn't, he looks very, very guilty, but it's this sort of barrage of anti-men rhetoric that's like taking over. And my thing is, the feminists were saying before, don't help me with my shopping, I'm not weak, don't, you know, open the door for me, that's steeped in patriarchy, that's misogynistic. But now I'm hearing a lot of women that I've seen with those same statements now say, men should protect us, like, you know, we need you to protect us, create safe spaces for women. It's, the two do not coincide.
They definitely can't protect you if they're on curfew at 6 p.m.
There will be no men to attack women. Then we'll be in our house.
Like, what do you feel about this?
Do you know what? Maybe for the past 3 or 4 years, I've noticed it's like very much a trend to just say men are trash, or men are this, men are that, men are, without sort of any additional, like, you can say some. I don't know why it's so hard to type the 4 letters some before going on, because everybody else understands, like, if you say women are, or Muslims are, or black people are, they'll always take offense to it, right?
Yeah.
And there is a really important conversation still to be had about harassment and rape culture, perhaps, or whatever else. But in this instance, I didn't really think it applied, because it was a rape and murder. Like, with that, not all men are, not most men, not even a small percentage of men are capable of that type of violence. So, like, to broaden it out to catcalling, it didn't seem at all like a good place to start the conversation, or a good time to have that conversation.
So there were some stats that came out that 97% of young women in the UK have been sexually harassed. Yeah. But see, that alone is a grabbing headline, like 90s, almost 100% of women have been...
Nearly all women.
Yeah.
But then how many people will take that and be like, this is disgusting, men are trash? And how many will actually, let me dissect this a bit further. And as you go on to see the data, only 1,442 women were surveyed. Of those, 52 said they had been harassed by a man. But the main indicators in the survey was wolf whistling and comments on appearance. So
that's exactly what I'm saying.
Me personally, and I have to emphasize personally, because I can't speak on anyone's feeling or experience, but the word sexual harassment is damning. It's so strong. To then passing a barber's in Norwood Junction or a building site in Essex. Do you see the stereotype? But and then to have someone say, yo babes, or to whistle, it may be unwanted, but is it sexual harassment?
Do you know, I don't mind what you call it. Fine. If you call that sexual harassment, cool, we can have a conversation about that. What I really don't want people to do is go, yeah, that's in and amongst rape and murder. That's what I like. That's not at all in the same picture as beating up your wife or killing a stranger because they're a woman.
I don't even think it's sexual assault. It's not even in the same.
Exactly. So like harassment is just verbal. Yeah, you've said something that you probably shouldn't have said, and I'm so happy to have that conversation. But to take it to a place where we're talking about like killing people and lump all of these men amongst the whatever the 97% of women that have experienced this, that means there's a large proportion of men that are doing this. To lump them in with murderers seems unfair. And like, I think the people that are saying this, if we were to say after a terrorist attack, Muslims X, Y, and Z, they immediately understand why it's not at all fair and it's kind of offensive to say that the Muslim community writ large should take responsibility for what a minority does. But when it's like a man doing something heinous,
should do
it's
better.
immediate. Like I'm responsible now for I'm culpable in a rapist and a murderer's actions.
And that's what it's been attached to. What's happened
and then
to
if
Sarah,
I defend myself, apparently I'm part of the problem.
It's true. And what's happened to Sarah is a murder, potentially some untoward sexual assault or attack or rape in there as well. And now all of a sudden it's like men do better. And even if I speak on this, it's like, you're a pick me, how can you? I have a father, I have like uncles, I have people that are males that I care about, and I don't want them to now be tarnished with that brush. Or they do their part in society to protect women or respect women. But having said that, on the flip side, I do believe culture from an early age needs to change. When I was in school, and I'm probably like a bit older than a lot of the, you know, people that are always online now. So like I'm in my 30s. But when I was in school, it was absolutely the norm for men to for boys to pinch bums, grab breasts. And there was not much we could do about it. I remember hating having to go to science. I would bunk sometimes because 3 boys would always be waiting to grab my bum and my breasts, and there was nothing I could do about it. Like, you tell the teachers that, oh, it's just boys being boys. So from that point of view, the culture, I don't know if it still happens in school, but I hope it's changed. But the culture where certain things are acceptable, even with, and again, I don't know whether it's a class thing or, you know, but if I go into a club, I don't mind a man, excuse me, can I talk to you? We need to be very careful about seeing that as harassment. There's nothing wrong with a man saying, can I talk to you? That's how people meet people. Do you know what I mean? But if I say no, deal with it.
Then it's
Don't
no.
make me feel like, why not? Yo, come here. I said, come here. All of that attitude has to stop. I don't need to chat to you. It doesn't mean I think I'm too nice, or maybe I do. It doesn't matter. I don't want to chat to you. So I understand where that level of
I'm with that.
harassment.
And I think that all of those things should be talked about. And there's you can't defend that. And I'm not trying to defend men that pinch bums or don't take no for an answer. I'm just trying to say that's not killing someone. So like that's a
100%.
different conversation altogether. And when people, I suppose a lot of the time it sounds defensive. It sounds like, oh, I don't want to talk about things that men do wrong. I do. And there was a topic about rape culture and how rape isn't convicted, very, very low levels of convictions, how the legal system is failing women as well. Like, all of that we need to discuss, but we can't do it in the context of all men should be culpable or blamed for murder of an individual. So,
and if we want equality, it shouldn't just be emphasis on men. It should be, you know, women look out for women at night time.
Yeah, that's
Do you know what I
point.
mean? Or there's been loads of murders where men have died. Where's the conversation about us as women looking after our men? There's been, in the last 2 weeks, multiple murders of men. There's no conversation of women look out for, you know, our fellow men. Ask them, do you know...
Because the perpetrators are men, apparently you're not supposed to speak about it.
But then, okay, but then don't give me this farcical, oh, I want equality. You either want equality or you don't.
I understand what you're saying in terms of all men, but I think the problem that we have is that women feel like they don't have a voice. So when it comes to things like sexual harassment, if they put forward a claim within the workplace, it's less likely to be taken seriously. Like you were saying as well, in terms of rapes, how many men are then convicted of rape when women bring forward a claim? So I think inadvertently they've lumped everything together because it's the only way that they're going to get a voice, because when they have had maybe a smaller voice for something like sexual harassment and not rape and murder, they haven't been heard.
Do you think, though, that wolf whistling or calling out to women or commenting on their appearance should be a criminal offence?
It's tough. I'm a Jamaican Don,
I
innit?
think it's
So-
subjective.
so it's a bit harsh.
Man said Jamaican Don.
It's
Because
hard.
do you know what? Going back to our culture,
It's
Caribbean culture, Lord Jesus, if those sorts of things become a criminal offence, carnival done. Not serious. Forget the whole whacking up, whining, pat and crank, 6:30, all these different types of moves, and all of our lyrics, like literally our whole album after album from our community is going to be one big sexual harassment. Seriously.
But I mean, I'm not sure. I can't say for certain because it's not my experience. But I'm pretty sure there's women in the community who'd be like, "Phew, thank God," because like.
But what about those who actually like it? Like if you, again, me living in the Caribbean, a lot of women like men to pursue them. When my cousins come over here, they say they feel so ugly. And that's from America and Barbados. And I say, why? And they say, because British
get no
men do not
recognition.
approach. Like when you go to America, it's like, damn, shawty, look at the legs on. And in the Barbados, the same. I will do this to you. I will do that to you when I get you in the bedroom. And it's like, they like it. A lot of women in the Caribbean like a man to pursue in that sort of sexual way. And there's loads of nuclear families, children being born from that, all the rest of it. So how do you deal with that then? Because a lot of what would be deemed in Western now society is sexual harassment is a part of our culture.
I think it's it's a difficult line to draw.
Like
I mean,
bashment, dancehall, lard.
but we don't have to make it illegal necessarily to approach a woman, but we do have to. There's the cultural element, which is the understanding that if you whistle at someone, they might feel less safe than if you didn't, and they might not know if what your intentions are.
Can you whistle?
I know.
Like that? Like, is that offensive?
I don't know if it's
I don't think it's
offensive, but I
offensive.
think it's like you're unaware of like how far they're going to take it. They might say something nice, they might compliment. If you don't give them what they want or entertain it, then they turn a
I think
different way.
incessantly.
I was
If you-
just about to say
if-
that. I think if you come out your house, there's going to be girls that are going to put on an outfit and they're going to get the first whistle and they're going to say, yeah, I look good today because I've had the acknowledgement.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to get further down the street and it's going to be like, okay. And then a bit further, it's going to be like, this is
I don't,
annoying.
do you know what? I don't even, I mean, like, from one person.
From one person,
I
yeah.
feel like if you go out or you're in a club and a man, like, I don't want to say touches the arm because even that I'm a bit like, why are you touching my arm? But let's say wolf whistles or whistles at me when I'm walking. My face is like this. Don't do it again. Like, you haven't got any reception
And they don't know
from
when to
me.
stop.
It's the constant yo, and then the car's like driving slowly along with you and you're like, whoa,
you-
what?
Yeah.
That's persistent.
yeah,
That's when
yeah.
it's a problem.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
the word is harassment, right? So
To continuously
to continue,
do something.
I think that's
something,
where
yeah.
it becomes illegal and a problem. Like, because anyone can harass you, even if it's not sexual. Like, it
Yeah.
could be someone that you don't want to talk to anymore that's ringing off your phone, or someone like. So I just think there's a
The issue is what's determining
it's
harassment.
Yeah, it's harassment, or if it's offensive. Like, everybody knows there's a line between complimenting someone and saying, I'm going to do this to you, which seems like more of a threat than a compliment, right?
I would just say, listen, there is fantastic men out there and there's horrific men out there. Just like there's fantastic women and there is horrific. There's women that murder and rape as well. Okay, not rape by legal definition, but sexually harass and assault. So I think we need to bear that in mind when we get caught up in this whole, like, men are trash, or when something happens about women, all women are this. There's no all nothing. But anyway, let's move on. What have you got for me?
So the story here is EasyJet pays out woman asked to move by Orthodox Jewish men. But I don't really want to talk about this story. I actually prefer to talk about, because it's, kind of related, I prefer to talk about the banning of the burqa in Switzerland. And it links because there's an issue between how women are treated and people's religious freedoms, and those two things clashing. Like, EasyJet kind of had to do what they had to do in terms of paying this woman out because they were affecting someone who wasn't in their religion. So I don't think there's much to really argue about there. Whereas if you're a Muslim and you want to wear a burqa, surely it's your liberal right to do so, even though
But
It's
is
very
it the
anti-liberal.
Orthodox Jewish men's liberal right to say, me sitting next to, I think they refer to them as Gentiles, like me sitting next to a woman is against my religion?
No, of course not.
No, it's not.
So they were happy. They weren't saying anything was bad about them saying that. They just had to pay out the woman, and that was it.
Well, insofar as your religion doesn't affect someone who doesn't follow your religion, you're allowed to express it. But I've put my seat in it, so I'd really find it weird for anyone to side with the person who's expressing their religion and impacting someone else. So that I don't know if there's any argument to defend the Orthodox Jewish men there.
The issue I have with the burqa and the niqab, right? And this is obviously the veil that covers the entire face and the ones where you literally just see the eyes. This is not the hijab. Again, if we within a Western society are going to talk about oppression and patriarchy and like what's deemed to be oppressive, there is a massive like group of people at the moment, specifically women in the Middle East, that are finding their voice about these sorts of traditions, the burqa and the niqab, and they're saying that they were influenced and manipulated to believe that that's what Allah wanted. That's what a good wife should do, to cover everything almost. And now that they are having more of an open mind approach and they're being empowered as women, they are now burning and throwing away their niqabs and their burqas. Now, I'm not saying for everyone. If a woman truly does want to wear that, then I can't tell her that she's not being empowered and she's being oppressed. But what I will say is, when we go to Muslim countries, the respectful thing is to do what they want, which is to cover up. When I went to Saudi Arabia, I had to cover from here downwards.
Yeah, you get arrested otherwise, surely.
There you go. So if I have to do that, and I want to out of respect for their cultural norms and religious norms, if our cultural norms is to greet people and see their face, why can we not in Europe instill that, or at least have that as something we abide by?
Because I think our central cultural norm is liberalism, which is if you want to cut your hair off or walk around on your hands, you can. So like, I'm not going to force you to not wear anything or to wear something.
I think,
whereas in Saudi Arabia, they don't have that sort of like, do your thing. It's like, these are the rules. Cool. If we pretend to be liberals, we've got to be liberals for the things that we don't like.
But then they're kind of going against, obviously it's not here yet, but in Switzerland, if anyone goes against that, the Quran does say that you should follow the laws of the land. So if the laws of the land is that, then people should comply with that. And it wasn't as if the government just said, this is what's going to be. It was asked of the people.
They had a referendum, yeah.
They had
it was a slim majority. It was like 52.
It was okay,
still.
But the referendum, they asked the people, which I think was very democratic. If there was going to be just this government to say all niqabs are banned, then yeah, I wouldn't agree with that.
I just find it interesting the timing when we're also used to covering
wearing
up our face
masks. Yeah,
like,
I know.
100%.
Looks a bit
But
like
I've been covering up for the best part of a
health
year.
purposes.
I'm just saying, if we're like, why are we bothered? Why are we bothered?
Yeah.
Why do we care? Or is it like signalling from a Western country or European country that we don't tolerate intolerance to women or something?
Yeah, like it doesn't bother me. But at the same time, I would, let's say if someone was to work in a nursery, I wouldn't want an individual to look after my children where their entire face is covered. I'm just being honest.
That's a good point.
That I wouldn't be comfortable with that. I'm not saying it's wrong. No one can accuse me of Islamophobia. To be honest with you, the niqab and the burqa is not stipulated in the Quran to wear anyway.
No.
So that's neither here nor there. That's Wahhabism is extremism, in my opinion. And my mother coming from a Muslim country, a lot of that conversation has taken place in my home. But yeah, like you said, liberalism is underpinning in our society within Europe, and we're all open arms to everyone. So why would we not be open arms to people's cultural traditions? Because to me, that dress is a cultural tradition.
It's not religious, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that seems like it's a wrap for our views on the news. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like and subscribe. And if you haven't done so already, follow our page, moneystation__. Once again, moneystation__. Thank you.